Fairhill Elementary School near Merrifield opened during the 1965-1966 school year. Fairhill takes its name from a farm and inn owned by the Otto and Lesney families in the 1920s and 30s. The story of Fairhill begins in 1877, when Rudolph Thiel and his wife Caroline Lena Kuhlman immigrated to America, departing from Hamburg, Germany, aboard the SS Hammonia. After 40 days at sea, they arrived in New York City. Lena Rosine, the first of their 7 children, was born 3 months later. 12 years later, in 1889, the Thiels moved to Prince George's County, Maryland, where they purchased 31 acres of Nonesuch Plantation near Silver Hill. In 1895, Lena Rosine married Carl Otto in Washington, D.C. Otto, born in 1863, had immigrated to the United States from Germany in 1891. In 1917, Carl and Lena Otto purchased 109 acres of land in Fairfax County near the village of Merrifield. This property, later known as Fairhill, included the present-day site of Fairhill Elementary School. According to the 1920 United States Census, the Ottos operated a farm on this land, but Carl also stated that he worked as a musician in a theater. Living with them at that time was Carl Otto's nephew, Carl Joseph Lesney, who worked for his uncle as a farmhand. Lesney, born in 1886 in Germany, had immigrated to the United States in 1914. In September 1920, 9 months after being enumerated in the census, Carl Otto died and was buried in Congressional Cemetery in Washington, D.C. Carl Lesney continued farming with the widowed Lena, and the two became romantically attached. They were married in July 1929 in Fairfax County. The first evidence of the name Fairhill for the Otto Lesney property comes from an article in the Fairfax Herald newspaper in April 1926, when 2 men were arrested for stealing hens and roosters from the farm. The Lesneys' home doubled as an inn, which they named Fairhill Inn. It was located on the south side of Lee Highway at its present-day intersection with Cedar Lane. In 1937, Carl Lesney was killed when the machine he was driving was struck by a Virginia Stage Lines bus as he was turning into his driveway. Lena buried her second husband next to her first in an unmarked grave in Congressional Cemetery. Later that same year, Lena subdivided Fairhill Farm, creating the Fairhill on the Boulevard neighborhood. After Lena sold the remainder of Fairhill, she continued to reside in the area, passing away at Iliff Nursing Home in Dunloring in June 1963. She was buried next to her mother and sister in Cedar Hill Cemetery in Suitland, Maryland. 2 years later, the Fairfax County School Board acquired 10 acres for a school site from the company developing Fairhill on the Boulevard. The school board voted to name the school Fairhill, after the Fairhill neighborhood and Fairhill Farm.